What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with this physique update from Jordan Hutchensen. So kind of seems like he isn't just maintaining. The man is getting better with every passing week and he's still above 270 pounds. But at the same time looking drier and harder than some of the guys who just competed at this year's Italy Pro Show this past weekend. And this is the quality that allowed him to beat a genetically superior bodybuilder like Quentin Beastwood at Tampa Pro and Texas Pro. And the rate of growth at which he is making progress right now, there is a high chance that he might show up a few pounds heavier for the Olympia this year, which by the way is gonna be his Olympia debut, and the man is expecting to place top 10. And this can definitely happen since he's one of those guys who gets harder and drier than most of the guys in that second call out. He has the conditioning of those guys in the first call out. He can come in with that granite-like conditioning and hard as a rock. So this update is about 5 weeks out. So the man has 5 more weeks to get even better and bring in more improvements. The detail in the hamstrings and the glutes, that is some of the best in the entire men's open, kind of reminiscent of Derek Lunsford. And Jordan is working extremely hard to bring up his arms and bring bigger and better arms to his Olympia debut. So there is one thing that if Jordan can fix, which is going to make one hell of a difference, not just in his overall physique, but in terms of his placings too. That is a bit of that distension in his lower abdominal region. So conditioning after all is the name of the game, and that makes you stand out in any bodybuilding show. And Jordan is gonna be one of the most conditioned guy on this year's Olympia stage. And I do believe his comparison with a guy like Regan, that is gonna be very interesting. Or blink too hard. Have you subscribed yet? Please don't make me bring out the emotional blackmail. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon. It's free, it's painless, and that makes me look way cooler than I actually am. So talking about Regan, next up we have an update from Regan Grimes. So this in my opinion isn't a 5 weeks out update. That look right there, that seems to be less than 2 weeks out. And I do believe that he's gonna be competing in the first Olympia qualifier of next year, the last show before the Olympia this year, which is gonna be France Pro. And he's going to try and secure the earliest possible Olympia qualification for next year, and that is going to set him up very nicely for a big proper off season to come in a lot better for next year. So this isn't Regan's first time using this strategy, and if he's able to win this show, this will also serve as a warm-up for him and his coach, Dom Super Sliced, for the big show ahead, the Olympia this year. They can try out that peak week protocol before the Olympia once, but winning this show is very important because Regan isn't one of those guys who puts on muscle at a fast pace, so he needs a long off season. So the people in his camp are saying that Regan is gonna be different this year because the man is more motivated than ever before because he sees the competition evolving, getting better. So he's also trying to follow in that footstep, and he has very high expectations for this year's Mr. Olympia. But if he doesn't grow in areas like the chest, the quads, his structure alone, that isn't gonna help him anymore. I think he has hit the ceiling in that regard. So this is gonna be a much harder Mr. Olympia compared to back in 2023 when he placed top 9. And that was the highest placing of his career. And even if he is to place in that same spot this year, he's gonna have to beat a lot of very good, very awesome guys in that second call out. So competing at France Pro, that is without a doubt a master plan. Next up we have an update from Juan Praell. So very unfortunate things happened for him before this year's China Pro, and that too just one day before the show. He was unable to compete because of food poisoning, or that was the official story by them. In fact, he kind of got lucky to have recovered from that very fast because all these pro bodybuilders, they are the most vulnerable just a day before the show because they are so depleted, and the diuretics, they can become very dangerous, not only prone to injuries, but also other health concerns they can come up because getting your body so dehydrated that can be lethal. So ever since turning pro, Juan has done only one pro show so far, and that was back in 2023. And that was the Emperor Classic Spain, where he competed against Michael Crizo, Andrea Presti, and Josema Beast. And he took a very long off season afterwards, and he put on a lot of muscle and a lot of mass, and a lot of size on that frame throughout that off season. And he was showcasing some amazing progress throughout his prep for China Pro. So his quad sweep has improved a lot, and more size in the lat and the arms. That has also given him a more aesthetic look. But that being said, the competition that he went up against back in 2023, that just isn't the same anymore. Just take a look at some of the lineups that we saw in the recent shows. So how do you guys think Juan is gonna do in the second pro show of his career, whenever that happens? So remember this guy Ross Patrick, the Cali Pro champion from back in 2023, where he beat guys like Tonio Burton and Sergio Oliva Jr. and Beef Stew. So the last show that Ross did, that was the Olympia back in 2023. And since that show, every time he has tried to plan on getting serious about competitive bodybuilding, he has faced some big hurdles. So he recently went through a surgery, but surprisingly, he looks very good in these progress updates. However, I do wanna say that his legs, they have downsized, and he's looking much more balanced compared to back in 2023 when he had some of the biggest quads, with the upper body that was very behind and not up to the par. Just go back in time and see how crazy shredded Ross was looking in the two shows that he did back in 2023, Cali Pro and Toronto Pro. The man was peeled front to back, and he was extremely motivated to climb up those Olympia ranks, especially by putting on more size and more muscle on his upper half. But the man had to face a new problem every few months. So will he ever compete again? Well, he hasn't officially retired, but everything has to go perfectly for him in order to beat his 2023 look. Now even if he beats that, another pro win is still not guaranteed, just by looking at the caliber of competition right now. So even in the flat mod, Mike Sommerfeld, the favorite to win this year's Olympia title in Classic, he is looking so wide and so big. So I cannot imagine what that finished product is gonna look like in about 4.5 weeks time. So he invested many months into that improvement phase after winning this year's Arnold. So his coach Neil Hill, he convinced him to take the much needed rest and time off. And if you guys remember, Mike was originally planning to do the Pittsburgh Pro 2. So looking back now, he must be relieved that he skipped that show, because that is gonna help him peak 100% for this upcoming Mr. Olympia. And based on what we are seeing right now, this should be the first classic win for Mike at the Olympia this year, unless something goes south big time during those final few weeks. So there isn't a single guy in that classic physique lineup who can rival this level of density and muscle maturity. And even Terence Surfin himself admitted that Mike has one of the best front double in that entire division. So there goes the first pose in favor of Mike, and is also untouchable in the side chest. So there aren't any weaknesses on this guy that the other competitors can expose. So this 5 weeks out version of Mike, that is looking very promising. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.